Hello Lynn, we've got the transmission out of your 2003 Mazda Tribute. This is what it looks like when it's all apart. I'll go over some things that we found on the inside with you, and Eric or Amanda will contact you with the different cost estimates. So that's what it looks like. We did a pressure check on the transmission first, and the reason we did that is we had to make sure that the pressure in reverse was going up and down like it should. So on our valve body, this is going to be our solenoid block here, and the solenoids themselves, there's going to be a pressure control solenoid in there that probably has some wear. It's an active solenoid, so we're going to recommend replacing that solenoid every time. There are some other valves inside the valve body around this location. What we got to do is split the valve body, clean it up, and then we have to look for wear in the pressure regulator valve and then our converter clutch bypass valve. So it could be this one and this one here. So we look to make sure that our reason for the pressure is taken care of while the transmission is out, of course. When we look at the planetaries, this is our front planetary. This basically gives you your gears. That planetary looks okay, as does our rear planetary. This one's going to be the rear planetary, and all the gears themselves, we don't see any problems there. When we look at the bearings, all these other bearings look okay. Camera may not pick this up, but right where my thumb is, there's you can see a dull patch. That's going to be the pitting from the bearing, so that bearing's no good. This one here is going to be our low reverse clutch, and if you look at the clutch lining, it's a uniform color. It's a dark green color to start with, but you look at the steel plate, uniform color here, we don't have any extra heat, so we know that that clutch hasn't been slipping. This one's our direct clutch, and this one's going to come on for third and reverse. We have a little bit of heating on the lining, like this is a dark green lining, so it's hard to see it, but it hasn't been slipping too badly. This one's our forward clutch, same thing as a dark green lining, just a little bit of slippage. This one's our overrun clutch, but if you look at the steel plate, you look at this surface here, what this looks like, there's a hot spot there, and the extra heat has turned this plate blue, so we know that that clutch has been slipping, of course. When we look at the reverse clutch, this reverse clutch was really what our problem was, is why we had to take the transmission out in the first place, but you can see how we've got a steel plate here. There's no surface friction left on that disc, and our steel plate and then our friction plate. This should be a dark brown lining, and basically this clutch should look like this. We can see there's no lining left there at all, so we know that this has been slipping badly. It's probably been slipping for a while. It's just the last little while is when it actually stopped holding reverse properly. So I mean, that's going to be our real problem there. We have to address why there wasn't enough pressure to hold that on as well. So we still have to look at bushings and things like that. They first appear to be fine. We have to wash everything up, but that's going to be a bushing there. This is our reverse drum here, and sometimes we see rings worn badly down in this area, but there could be just something wrong with this molded piston. This area here looks bad. We still have to take it apart, but the molded pistons are going to come in a overhaul kit anyways, so anything that's got rubber on we'd normally change. All these friction pieces we'd normally change, and then the steel plates as we need to change those as well. When we look at the pump, so that's what the pump looks like. There's this shaft goes from the torque converter, which basically does the job for the automatic that your clutch would have done on a standard, and it's splined to here. So you see, if I turn this, you see what happens. Turns the inner gear and turns the outer gear, and as we have oil coming through here, it's going to be compressed. That's where we develop our pressure. So right now we don't see anything wrong with the pump. We're going to have to clean it and then check our clearances, but they look fine. These are our sprockets. There's going to be a chain that takes the power from one side of the transmission and puts it over to the differential part. So that's going to be basically our differential there. So we're going to have side gears, just like a differential on the rear wheel drive. It's just inside the transmission housing on this one. So again, we don't see anything wrong there. The chain looks okay. Sprockets look okay. This is our band that comes on for second and fourth. quite often we'll see the end of that break off. That's not the case in this one, but this band has not been slipping. But again, on an overhaul, we always replace the friction elements, and that's going to have the friction element to be replaced. If we look on top, this is just a cover that goes over top of the chain, but it gives you an idea how much metal we've got in there. So we've got a magnet on here, and so you can see how much material we've got on top of that magnet. There's going to be another magnet on the bottom of the case where it drains, so that's another thing that we've got to clean out that metal, of course. So as I said, the big things are going to be our reverse clutcher is burnt badly. We probably have a problem with this piston. Our overrun clutch is burnt fairly badly. Just a slight bit of burn on these two clutches. The band itself looks all right, but on a recondition, we'd always replace that. As the same with our low reverse clutch, so these clutches would be replaced. The bearing, of course, has to be replaced either way, and then we have to address the wear that we're likely to find in the valve body and change this solenoid pack as well. So the torque converter is not up here, but torque converter has a clutch inside of it as well, so in a recondition we would always change the torque converter as well. So that's what we found inside, and as I said, Eric or Amanda will contact you, but that's what we did find. Thanks.